What's the worst thing you've seen happen at a party? They serve chicken with marrow. I go to lame parties. My friend was shot and killed through his front door after asking people he didn't know to leave. He was locking the door after an argument to get them to leave. Beer can nearly full of chew spit. Dude on acid. He pounded the whole thing. Threw the can down. Let out a primal scream and did not vomit. Others did. I'm done. Drunk people filled a beer bottle with a cleaning liquid and handed it to an even drunker person who drank it. Luckily it wasn't bleach based, but he was not well. Christ. That's how people die. Walked in to see a girl doing lines of coke off of a stairwell. Then she went limp and everyone started freaking out until she jumped up with a bloody nose and yelled, "I'm okay, bitches." Then she passed out again and we called an ambulance. Fantastic night. Edit. It was totally coke, guys. My sister hosted a party and someone cheated on top of one of the blades of the ceiling fan. You can guess how we discovered it was there. Buddy of mine got really drunk one time. He took some intimate rock pills. He told me his plan was to run around to all the girls to see if they like what they see. He tripped on his own foot and broke his big dig when he fell on a coffee table. 3 of my friends get it on with one chick in the living room when everyone was leaving. Me. WFT are you guys doing? Ho. Joinin'. Me. No thanks. Left home. Edit. In retrospect. I should have stayed and ducked her armpit. Apparently I was too young to remember this. But my parents told me about the time they had a party and I came out of my room and proceeded to serve glasses of cool, delicious water to the guests. After a while someone thought to ask where I was getting the water. You guessed it. The toilet. Saw a dude get stabbed in the kidney at a party. No one was really paying that much attention. And he was so drunk he appeared to just shrug it off. We left after that. Walked by the house 20 or 30 minutes. Later there were paramedics in the front lawn. Dude was dead. He'd been bleeding internally. Everyone thought he was just drunk when he fell over. Almost no blood on his shirt. It was surreal. I spilled wine on a brand new shirt at a party. And when I asked go borrow a sweater to cover it up, the host said he didn't want me to stretch out the neck hole with my fat head. Then everyone laughed and agreed I had a fat head. My friend's ex-girlfriend walking around stark naked, begging people to bone her. Passed out, naked, in the bathroom and crapped all over the floor. Fellas. I was not impressed. My ex-husband once opened a can of Alpo dog food, put it on a plate and mashed it up into a bowl. He added some crackers to the plate and fed it to the other party goers nasty. No people showed up : This happened to a friend of mine. She had her daughter's birthday party at the local park. Set up tables of homemade treats. Balloons everywhere. Games for the kids to play. Not one single person showed up. It was brutal because everyone at the park kept walking by to see what was going on. Her daughter was young enough to not really get what happened. Nice woman and husband. Nice kid. Not sure why no one showed. But this is why you don't send out evites with regrets only and then don't follow up. The bonus for me is that she's damn near a gourmet cook and brought some of the treats to my office. We were taking care of a freshman girl who had had too much to drink, as so many do, on the first week of the semester. We took her to the bathroom and waited patiently outside. Door cracked and a CC couple of friends of hers posted outside top keep her privacy and listen for vomiting. After a few minutes, it's gotten quiet. Then we hear a small and dull clunk sound. And after a moment, water rushes out into the hallway. She fell asleep standing and fell, slamming her head into the open toilet, smashing it into 2 pieces. Remarkably, she was completely unhurt. She's a graduate now and sings with stunning beauty. Was closing down a party a few years back. Noticed a young woman wandering through all the rooms and back again. Then watched her go through the living room. She picked up each and every empty beer can and poured it into her glass. Some of them only had drops left. Others had a few swallows. While I was still trying to process what I was seeing, she noticed me noticing her. Furrowed her brow. And with a slight tilt of her head stated, "Don't judge me," and continued on her journey. A drunk police officer getting in his car to run the siren for us. Then driving a few parking spots over. "Are you from Superbird? I wish it was just a movie. I'm not joking. This was crazy. Everyone at the party thought he was awesome. So I think it gave him an ego boost to act like an idiot. Buddy and his so got into it, so he decided to drink as heavily as possible cause in his mind they were over forever. Got so hammered that he thought suicide was the only option. So he walked out and flung himself off the second-story balcony when nobody was looking. We all realized he was missing about a half hour later, so we took off to search. We found him after about 4 hours. He had crawled on a broken humerus and 3 cracked ribs out into the middle of an empty lot next to the complex too. In his delirious, still drunk. Dehydrated as hell, words die alone like a wounded baby antelope on the Serengeti. We carried him back to car and took him to a hospital where he was treated for the arm, ribs, dehydration, and severe alcohol poisoning. He remembered none of it. Turns out his Sue and him had argued only about what time they should go home. She only wanted to stay until 12 or so and he wanted to stay as long as humanly possible. So she just took off. Wasn't even really a fight. I thought I had something to share, but after reading these comments, I am a fairly normal drunk. I thought there would be way more sexual stuff. Did you porn lie to me about American parties? I saw a bloke at a local house party slip something into a girl's drink. It was sickening to see another human being trying to drug someone for their benefit. My buddy and I went over and tossed the drink out and threw the kid out of the party. We later talked to the girl and she was quite happy to realize that she wasn't drugged. Edit. Thanks for the gold, stranger, it's my first ex-girlfriend's birthday party. Some drunk ducker got left by his friends and started causing trouble. Hitting on people. Drinking more. Just not giving a shit. Started to get freaked out by people wanting him to leave. Twice he tried to jump off the balcony of the house and plummet 15 feet to a rocky death. First attempt we wrestle him to the ground and he naps for a second. The next second he ducking jumps up and leaps for the edge. One dude on his left grabs him by the waist. I get my arm in a headlock and we bring him to the ground. I hit my friend's leg and tell them to call 911. We get him up and out of the house and people start walking down the street. 4 cops come to the door. 2 take off looking for him, while the other 2 survey what had happened. They were nice enough to make a comment about the shitty beer we were drinking. Thank you. Multnomah County Sheriff. Duck you hands. Someone chewing a bite of hamburger and his friend opening wide while the chewer spit the chewed bite into his mouth. Pretty sure second dude swallowed. They did things like that. A drunk guy jumped off the 3rd floor balcony aiming for a nearby tree. He did well enough not to kill himself, but he broke quite a few bones and cut himself pretty bad falling through the tree. He spent the next couple months in the hospital. Someone threw a bucket and it nailed me right in the head. Blood is running all down my face and shirt. Some girl decides to help me out and take care of me. We've been dating for 2 years. A girl was so drunk she pulled down her pants in the kitchen. Squatted down and pooped on the floor. She pulled up her pants. Put paper towel over her poop and continued to party. I really hope she isn't on Reddit. In high school I was at a party on a little island in a little lake. Someone lost their glasses. And thought it would be a brilliant idea to tip over a tiki torch to look for them. Well, all the fluid poured out and it caught some brush and a fire started. Even worse. They decided to run to the farthest side of the island to throw the tiki torch in the water. And everything behind them caught on fire as well. And they burned their back pretty badly. I was watching all of this from a boat. And it just looked like someone caught on fire. And was trying to run to the water. Everyone eventually jumped into the water. And swam to shore. the whole island was destroyed. Told this story before. My friend decided to have a beach party for her birthday, and when I got there with her BF and a bunch of other guys, she was already wasted. She enthusiastically greeted us, then grabbed and started making out with the guy next to her BF. Well, it was kinda dark. She was drunk and didn't seem to notice she got the wrong guy, so we were all just standing there awkwardly, wondering, holy shit, did she grab the wrong guy? Her BF tried awkwardly tapping her shoulder to let her know she got the wrong guy, but she just waved him off. She got even more drunk later on and ran around naked. Her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend and I had to force her back into her clothes. I left early with him to take her back to my dorm. She came from a conservative Muslim family, so she can't go home in that state, and it was the most awkward car ride ever. Being a social retard who can't stand awkward silences, I had to make things worse by saying she'd like, well, your girlfriend has lovely bobs. Some kid OD'd on coke. People refused to call the cops because there were drugs at the party. I only arrived about 15 minutes prior, as I was the designated driver, so I saw the tail end of it all. Kid was DOA as the ambulance pulled up. That was pretty ducked up. In a few states there are laws that make the caller immune in that case. It allows you to present yourself on behalf of a person in trouble and not face the consequences of the law, since it was for the betterment of another person. This is usually used in underage drinking, but it can work with drug cases as well. After reading about 100 of these stories, I have to ask, am I the only person who takes a sheet before leaving for a party? If you sheet in a toilet and don't grape anybody, you are apparently in the top tier of party guests. I'm sure this will get buried, but I saw a drunk chick run a man train, duck any and every guy that lined up at a party. She went through 15 guys in about an hour and a half. We all knew what was going on. Most of us just stayed in the main house and watched guys wander up to the granny flat she was in. Second worst part of all was that her boyfriend arrived from work to find her getting railed by a rugby player. Poor kid just started crying and left. Worst part came later. Apparently she had herpes. The fallout was pretty epic. 8 or so guys got it. 2 of the guys' girlfriends got it, I assume on the same night from their boyfriend's dart. I think the boyfriend dodged a bullet in the end. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Depop my gold cherry. What are parties and how do I get invited to one? Play as a healer tank. Those guys get invited to all the parties. My friend drank 26 shots worth of vodka in 5 minutes for $15 so he could order Domino's 555 deal. He passed out, so I had to make him throw up before he died of alcohol poisoning. Then dropped him on his front step. Rang the doorbell and left. This guy ran into a raid before we discussed the whole plan. Last time we ate on with Leroy. I've told this story in a thread a while back, but one of the most messed up things I've seen at a party was a couple of guys trying to get someone who obviously had alcohol poisoning to keep drinking. I got them to leave her alone and called campus security, who took her to the hospital. I didn't even know who she was, but I just couldn't let something ducked up like that happen. Many shots into a party. A friend of mine, the homeowner, decided to break out the Gen Clear. Took some shots. It was terrible. Then he says, you know, I think this would be better warm. He pours some in a spoon and gets a lighter out and holds it under the spoon. We're all drunk too and think it's hilarious. That is, until the spoonful of jet fuel ignites, and he drops it on his carpet. In his surprise, he also kicks the rest of the bottle over. I swear the place went up in minutes. Irony, it was a housewarming party. He just built the place.